Hi everyone, welcome to Outdoor Bound TV. I'm Kurt Walbeck. One very popular tourist destination is the Door Peninsula of eastern Wisconsin. Every year, thousands of visitors flock there in search of sun and sand. But there's something else very popular about the Door Peninsula, and that's its incredible fishing. On this week's show, we start part one of a two-part series of fishing our way across the peninsula. Our old buddy and guide, former tournament angler Dale Stroschein is here, and he's going to help us find some of those famous Sturgeon Bay smallmouth.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is, we're up here on Sturgeon Bay. We're going to go after smallmouths, and there's a lot of different presentations that you can use to attack this body of water. You can either go, finesse, which we're going to do today, or you can go more with power fishing with hard body baits where you're casting and retrieving. I happen to like the finesse style, and I think more times than not with inclement weather, this can really impact, how the fish react to things. And by going with the finesse, you kind of soften those different weather patterns that move through, and you're going to get more bites because of it. And what I'm using here, this is called the Ned Rigging. They make Ned worms, and I just happen to do it old school, so what I'm doing right here is I take a 5 3/8 inch worm, and I'm just going to cut it in half here with the scissors and making my Ned worm, So I just clip them like so. And then what I'm using here, and this one actually is called the Berkeley half head. It's designed specifically for this, and the great thing about it is it's a small hook, but it's very strong and it can handle these big fish. Because when you come up here to Sturgeon Bay, you're looking at 5, 6, 7s, and potentially even 8-pound smallmouth, which is kind of unheard of. I mean, this is one of the top fisheries in the Midwest when it comes down to targeting large smallmouths. And the last thing you want to do is hook up with one of these giants that live here beneath the water here in Lake Michigan and have your hook bend open.
So Dale, what type of cadence do we want? When we're throwing out here, we make contact with the bottom. What type of cadence do you like to use from there?
Okay, Kurt, so what we're going to be doing today with this Ned rig is we're trying to best simulate the gobies. The gobies in the bottom of the lake here of what really created these giant mega fish, that live here in Lake Michigan. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a long cast, wait for that jig to get down to the bottom, and then it's just one slow turn of the reel, and then wait for that line to settle back in, and then just one slow turn, wait for it to settle back in. Again, with that Ned rig constantly just working along the bottom. You got to remember, what makes a goby unique is that they have no swim bladder. So with them having no swim bladder, these fish cannot elevate off the bottom. So we're really simulating very closely what they love to eat with this Ned rig, and that's a goby. Oh,
there we go. There we go.
God.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
good old smallmouth shake.
Oh yeah, and every one of these, just fights like a 5-pounder.
They really do, no doubt about it.
And if you look now, he's got a textbook hook set here because I can see the half head, the chartreuse half head sticking out of his mouth. So that was textbook, Kurt. You were right on, and that's where that line, having a visual line, can really help you.
Watching that, and that's exactly what I was doing. I had thought I felt a bump on the drop, and look at that beautiful smallmouth.
Nice job, Kurt.
And I was watching the line, I saw the line move, and that's exactly why I set the hook. Look at that. Great start to the day here in Door County. Awesome. Thanks for the net, Dale.
Yeah, no problem. Kurt strikes first.
Well, what a pretty fish. Well, we'll get him back in, see what else we can find.
Oh, this is a big fish, guys.
All right. I'm gonna sneak up behind you there, Dale.
This is a good one, Kurt. Now that thing extends.
Okay.
Hit that button and it'll pop out.
Oh, nice.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I don't like this. I think we might
have to go back.
Boy, he's really not cooperating at all here. This is a good, I'll tell you what.
Get my rod out of there.
Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you what, see this for a smallmouth, Kurt, this is what it's all about.
He isn't even showing up yet on the scene, has he?
Just, you know, he breached the surface a little bit, and that's been about it.
Boy, he is pumping that rod. Look at that.
Yeah, I actually been giving him a little line. You know, one thing I do is I'll keep a really tight drag, and I always want a good hook set. So if they need a little drag, you know, the rod does a lot of the work, and but otherwise, if they need drag like this, I'll just keep peeling line out for them. I'll tell you what, I am starting to get a little fatigued, but maybe it's because I'm getting older. You know, I'm 55 now.
I think we're all getting older.
Look at this thing, it's
Look
crazy.
At it just going.
You know, I would think this is a sheephead, but I know it's a smallmouth because I've seen it.
Look at that fish. I just caught a glimpse of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good smallmouth there. You know, and he's not, you know, one of these absolute magnums, but
look at the
man,
girth on that fish.
The fight was all worth it.
Look at that. Unbelievable Door County smallmouth.
Yeah, and you know, that's probably knocking on 20. You know, she's a post-spawn female, you know, and you know, this is a textbook hook set here, so we're
right in
there. You know, right where you had yours there, you know, it's right up in that lip. So you don't, you know, and one thing, Kurt, too, just real quick tip for the folks at home is, you know, make sure that when you handle these fish of this size, you always hold them vertical. If you go horizontal, you got to make sure that you support them from the tail, because what you're going to do is break their jaw. So you always want to make sure you support them here. And one more thing too, folks, these fish of this size, you got to make sure you handle them with white gloves. And what I mean is never drop them. They're too big. They'll actually, you'll damage their organs, and a lot of times they'll die. And a lot of guys just flip them in from up here up on the deck. Make sure you set them in, and you just set them in the water, because you can potentially hurt them. Well, what a fish, man.
Fish. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
One.
And then there she goes back to the bottom of Lake Michigan. How cool is that?
You know, I thought I bumped a weed because it's literally right under the boat. I was getting ready to reel in and make a cast, and
that's
another good fish. Yeah, I was going to reel in and pick up, and being this close to the boat, you know, this is such clear water here.
How cool was that?
Oh.
You know, you just love watching them. I think in this clear
cool.
water.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what's even cooler. You should see when you get on like those 10, 12 pound walleyes.
Mm-hmm.
And they come, oh man, that's a big fish.
Look at that fish. Look at, just absolutely inhaled that. Look at that. Look at that fish. What a gorgeous Door County smallmouth. Huh? Incredible.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you taking us out every time we come here. Whether it's walleyes, whitefish, smallmouth, it doesn't matter. It's always a great time.
Look at that right there. That is what it's all about.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Door County.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Rapala and PK Lures.
You know, if somebody wants to come here for the first time, has never been here, knows nothing about it, would you recommend that they hire a guide? Can you do it yourself here? What's it like for somebody that's coming here for the first time?
A guy that's just new to the area, he's got his own boat, he's got all his own gear. I get it, because there's a lot of good guys out there that are able to, you know, they've got a lot of the good abilities, you know, they got everything they need in order to attack this thing. But here's what you got to remember, Kurt. You've got a lot of water here, and don't be intimidated by that. What you got to do, for example, you know, we're sitting right now in the Sturgeon Bay Channel here. What you got to do is spend time in just one of these bays, you know, one of these locations, whether it's, say, the Sturgeon Bay Channel, whether you pick Sand Bay, whether you pick Riley's Bay, Little Sturgeon, you know, and then really learn that area and work that area, number one. Now, keep in mind that these smallmouth are migratory, so what's going to happen is, if you come here in May, and I've heard this many of times, Kurt, these guys come up here in May, they're fishing back in these bays, and then they come here in July and they don't catch any fish. It's because what's happened is a lot of these fish have transitioned out to where they summer, you know, so they're migratory fish. And again, if you're new to the area, long casts are going to help you. Only work it maybe a quarter to the half of the way in a lot of times. I refer to that as power fishing. If it's calm out for the new guy, start off finesse fishing, you know, with drop shots, Ned rigs, twister tails, tubes. And if you get a little bit of wind, then what you're going to want to do is go to more presentations where you're casting out and reeling in a spinner bait, a MEP spinner, a square bill, a lipless bait, you know, like a rattle trap or something like that is going to play to your advantage. And again, if it's calm, work a little bit deeper, deeper meaning like 12 to maybe 20 foot. And then if it gets rough, that's when you can bump up on some of those shoals and you can get into like that 4 to maybe 12 foot of water. So those are all great tips for somebody new that wants to try it here on their own. Oh, boy, that one just charged me. That's another thing too, Kurt, you know, you really got to watch these fish. It's kind of like walleyes through the ice. Once in a while you get them big walleyes, they've played the game enough and they'll charge the hole and you got to like double down on them. Otherwise they're coming off. I see people's rod tips going like this and I'm like, reel, reel, reel. You know, and this guy just charged me big time, so I had to reel down on him. What I mean by that is just a quick reel. He's not very big, but man, I'm telling you what, he's got an attitude. And that's one thing about smallmouth. They will give you everything they got right till the landing.
Look at that, it is. Boy, look at the colors on that fish.
Yeah,
he's really pretty. Look at that. Cool fish, just beautiful, you know. And it's nice seeing some of these guys too, because, you know, you're seeing that there's reproduction. Everything here is a natural reproduction. There's no put and take with you know, stocking or anything like that. So this is one of the younger generations, but still a great fish. Up-and-comers.
Yeah, right. Ooh. There's fish. You know, I had that fish when yeah, we had hit a little dry spell there.
Yeah, went through a little bit of a lull and made a move, and now right back there again.
You know, another thing I want to mention, Kurt, is the other day I had a guy out that fished a lot, and this is what he was doing.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, you know, the thing with that is, folks, just so you know, when you're netting fish, always keep the net out of the water, because what's going to happen is, if you keep the net in the water, those fish will turn, and many of times you'll end up catching the hook outside of the net, and now you got problems.
That's a problem.
You know, so you always wait until the fish is ready, and ready. You keep the net out here. Don't sit like this, because when they turn by the boat, you'll never be able to react quick enough, and you're gonna lose a big fish because of it. So always keep that net out here. Wait for the fish to finally show itself, like right here, and then go in and get them.
Look at that,
there
easy peasy.
Nice job, man.
Boy, just another good fish. He just ate that. Look at that.
Look at that.
He's got some dark spots on him. Look at that.
We got a little birthmarking.
Yeah,
you know, everybody calls it birthmarking. That's kind of cool, you know.
Well, you were wishing for a black dot on one of them earlier. Maybe you get your wish.
Yeah, we got a red bass.
That's right, exactly right. Awesome fish.
Yeah, nice job.
Cool. All right, we'll get him back in.
Yes, sir. Well, like you said, you got to drive it hard into turn one there, Kurt. You know, you and I come from that, oh man, this was bigger than the last one. Woo! You know, you and I come from that racing background. I was motocross, you know, and you were racing always stock. Well, what were you racing actually?
Oh, both dirt cars and asphalt cars. So.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, this is so much fun.
Look at that.
I like it as much as racing. Oh man, he's coming up. This is a big fish.
Another big fish.
Oh, see, now I puked out a big alewife.
Yes,
see that?
you did. I did. Yeah.
Wow. There he is. You get him?
There we
go. Oh, now that is a
that.
big stork. Now that's a sturgeon-based smallmouth right there. Woo! Look at this. Now that's got a build. I mean, that's just like that's what we refer to as Monday night football.
That's what it looks like.
Monday afternoon football.
And this fish is probably spawned out, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, beautiful color on that.
Look
again,
at
you know, I like when they get that brindle look on them, you know.
That's beautiful fish.
So,
boy, I tell you what, you cannot go many places and find fish of that caliber.
Right?
That's incredible.
That's what makes this so fun, you know. I mean, you come here, I'm not even kidding, as long as I've been doing this, literally every cast that I make reminds me of like when I was 7 years old. I still just kind of shake because they're so big. There's so many big fish. You know, it was kind of like when you had that box of Cracker Jack. You know, when you're a kid, you weren't worried about eating the candy corn or you wanted to see what was in the package. You know, right?
That's right.
What a great
that's a pretty nice package right there. Look at that, man. That's awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Wow. There she goes. Preserving, what we like to call is looking out for the future fishery and preserving the resource. Right there.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Venom Outdoors and Mountain Dew.
You know, Kurt, I know this is a simple thing, but you know what people have to do too is they have to realize that when they get a fish on, you've got to use the rod. Keeping your rod up like this more is beneficial because you want that rod to be able to keep the line tight. Here's another thing. When a fish is going to jump, and this is so important, you real quick, because you want to pull them through the air. You know, so you keep that hook inside of them. So that's an absolute must. A lot of guys like to do this where they keep the rod down because what that's going to do is actually force them to stay in the water. But I like the jump. You know, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm going to sneak in behind you there, Dale, and we'll see if we can get this guy in. Another beautiful fish.
Look at the size of this one too. Oh, woo! Now there is a Sturgeon Bay Goliath.
Isn't that incredible?
You know, these things, Kurt, too, you know, just so people know, a fish of this magnitude, it's 18, 17, 20 years old. So you got to make sure, like I said, that you handle these things very, very carefully.
That's right. That's a beautiful fish. Look at the size of that thing.
What a stud. Look at that. Look at that gut.
Boy, Dale, thanks again for taking us out today. It's always a great time when we come here to Sturgeon Bay and spend a little time at Sand Bay Beach Resort. We appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Well, and you know, I got to say one thing too, Kurt. You know, you bring a lot of fun and excitement to Wisconsin with what you do and, you know, sharing your stories with, you know, different parts of the country and just keeping people informed of what's going on. So I thank you as well for what you do because, again, you bring a lot of passion to what you do, and that's That's something you just have inside you. You know, it's not something you learn. It's a gift. So,
well, I appreciate it. It's fun to do it on days like this, that's for sure. Folks, if you're interested in fishing with Dale at Wacky Walleye Guide Service, all of his information is at the bottom of the screen. Give him a call. You'll have a great time. And we hope that you'll join us again here next week when we'll bring you more great hunting and fishing action from around the U.S., around Canada, and around the world, right here on Outdoor Bound TV. Nice fish.
Yeah.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Yakima Bait and Tooth Tamer Rods.
I think it's been hitting the Dunkin' Donut shop. Oh. You got to be hanging on to these rods. What happens, Jack? I'm not sure.
Did I make the blooper reel?
There's a chance.
Oh, you think he came unbuttoned? Oh.
He nipped the back right off. A great observation, you know.
Well, at least it wasn't a 20-incher, I guess.
Yeah. So we're out for dinner, though. Yeah, I had somebody come up and clean me off.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Suffix and VMC Hooks.